It is third Thursday of January. It is time for a Potter's Journal book review. Okay, and we have got here Country Pottery, traditional earthenware of Britain. And this goes along with one of my current quests in pottery making, looking into the roots of Pennsylvania, earthenware and slipware, where I'm from, and then discovering the English pieces, finding out such the similarities, and realizing that it was being imported here until it was made here. So then going back to its earlier roots. This is, by Andrew McGarva. It complements nicely a couple others. I last year when the power went out, I reviewed this, The Last Potter of Black Burton, and the author, Lee Cartledge, actually has some videos up on YouTube. But these two complemented each other very nicely. They roughly cover the same era, although the wares you could follow back further. They're relatively plain, simple, undecorated country pottery, things made to be used on a daily basis. But also kind of covered the end of an era, in a sense, through the 1800s till the almost disappearance of it. That this one actually did cover the end of an era, but he went on to make pots too. But this, there were roughly about 12 chapters, all loosely related, but it didn't kind of follow a progression. They're they're all very different, and it almost it wasn't just like they were maybe published separately at different times, maybe in a magazine or periodical, and then put together in a book. That they really were all quite different things, the 12 chapters. I think my favorite part was the very first one that went over the wares, the actual pots of the time. And a couple that stuck out to me were the pension, those large basin bowls that were sometimes called milk pans, but were probably used for everything, washing, as a sink bowl. If you had not a running water in your house, but a well that you carried it into or washed out in the yard. And the thing that struck me is that although this is the same period here, I'm not looking at the redware, that Pennsylvania redware that was, plates and bowls for using, but the country stoneware crocks. It seemed like the only thing from the similar era in this country was crocks and jars for canning and fermenting vegetables, and not pitcher jugs, but bottle jugs. So there seemed to be very limited range of pots, a very large range of pots. Some of the things were ham pans and jugs with carrying pitchers. The pitchers were in this collector's glide of Pennsylvania stuff, but they seem to be much more prevalent here, and that's where some decorating was done for pieces that went into the house. The chapters, let's see what we are, since it then went on to training and wages, which I did work in a production pottery for a number of years. Didn't get paid much, and imagine they didn't then as well. Clay preparation, the digging of it, often quite close to the pottery, the tools. And maybe they then went into throwing flower pots, and then on to Isaac Button. This may be to where we should say, let's see what's going on in the studio today. And here is where maybe there was a break in the flow of the book. It then went into one specific pottery, A. Harris and Son. I am doing the Pension, the generally large wash pans, but this one's going to be about 3 and some pounds. I want to do a series, but I do want to work out, see what we get out of the 3 pounds. But yeah, the book then went into one specific pottery, and went through, it was kind of like the book in miniature, all the sections, chapters of the books. It covered the wares from this pottery, which was actually mostly flower pots, or possibly, if I'm remembering right, that's what it was now, and that's what has kept it going, where others, saw an end. And it went into two potters there, and actually showed their technique for the flower pots. One doing small pots. I'm describing in detail Fred Whitebread, in detail how he'd throw the clay on the wheel, and just judging by what it felt like when he was centering it, knew that he would need a little bit more, and they came out to stack small pots. A 4-inch flower pot to stack one inside the other, and just as amazing, the other potter, Reg Harris, in detail on how he made the big pots and how he lifted them off, I use my treadle wheel more for one-ofs if it's something that's going to be lifted off. Amazing how the skills can be developed to lift off a large pot. And then also the next chapter went into another single pottery, Soil Hill, but there, instead of it being somebody today, it was mostly around a video from the past that actually you can see on YouTube, Isaac Button. And he was doing the, I think, glazing, if I'm remembering right, the large Pension. And it's a shape that intrigues me. It seems so simple and basic, but to get the design and the proportions right is quite another thing. And they were also making them to fit in a refractory, so they could be stacked one on top of the other. And I've worked out behind me I did 3 versions on how I like the slip inside and then combed through. So I will do this one with the design that I like best for that. And I'm getting used to a treadle wheel. So if you don't keep kicking it, it does stop. This lip very flat on the top. Sometimes I guess they were maybe stacked lip to lip. They may not always have been put with the refractory. And I don't want these to be trimmed. So, this is where with the rib we can get that underneath the lip part. I don't want these to be trimmed, so I will give this a cut. And I am not ready to pour slip in here and pour it out. But, I'm going to do a series of these. This is the first one. Probably be smarter if I demoed the last one after I built up, okay, some, what's it called, muscle memory from doing a form a few times. But I'm not ready to pour the slip out of these things, but still brushing it. And I do like, okay, now we have to slow it down. I do like my Brent electric wheel. Oh, so we've got to slow this down, but keep it going. And here we go. And that's it. I like the beginning and the end to be the tail and the head of a snake, or I should say a worm, to make it easier to sell. And as I said, this form really intrigues me. I want to do, okay, a small series. I've seen them as soap, with a little thing for soap. And with drains, I'd like to make for washing garden vegetables in a very large size. But I do want to, in the next coming weeks, try doing them in different sizes, maybe from 2 pounds. And I've never put 9 pounds of clay on the treadle wheel, so that's something to stop back for. Okay, here's my slab roller. It had a chapter on hand building and extruded and slab pieces, but didn't say how it makes the slabs. You know, that for drape molding, that's a process in itself. I prefer, okay, to throw them on a wheel, although Pennsylvania, that would not have been typical. This contemporary, okay, Pennsylvania drape molded piece is actually more typical and quite similar to the pieces, okay, in the book. So where were we? Glazing and drying. Actually, that's what I'm doing today, is glazing pots all day mostly. A lot easier. I don't have to put my hand in cold water. I can put an electric drill in it. Drying, distribution, and sale. The part none of us like, sometimes done by potters, others, okay, it looks like it progressed from donkey cart to car, and you'd think the rail would have saved it, but some it did, and some that may have been what put it under. If they were by the sea, that could have been a possibility too. It lists about 12 country potters of today, and actually I look, first one I see, Clive Bowen's, I have, and you know what, let's take a look at what I have. Okay, here is half of a Finch McAndrews. I still have to get the McAndrews half of that, the money box, an item that was included in the book. And again, I do like my Brent electric wheel, but always have things back here, okay, for inspiration. Let's look at what's in this stack. So following it down, we've got a Freddie Moretti, a Steve Bouton, a Lee Bass, and there it is, the Clive Bowen. And everything needed dusted. Here's a Jeremy Leach. So the Finch McAndrew piece was not in here, but actually could have been one of the 12 contemporary country potters. Neither was the Jeremy Leach, but his brother Johnny Leach was. So I need to collect 2 more of these and have all 3 of the Bernard Leach grandsons in my collection. But what really surprised me, this was a pleasant surprise when I saw, like, the second name on the list here, Clive Bowen's, okay, and that I had a piece. That was really exciting, that I really love the loose freeness in the slip work there. Okay, so I guess maybe I should close with some final thoughts. This was published for 30 pounds in 2000. And you can get it now online for about $15. I got it for unbelievable. It must have been a mistake. $4.36. That's generally what shipping would be. So I'm wondering if it was a mistake, but I was very pleased. It's very seldom I find the great deal that everybody says they find. But I like that it put us in touch with, okay, the end of an era, you know, as more of a trade and a craft, and then that it had also that connection to it now as a craft and an art. Now, that space in between there, okay, is another book entirely, or maybe 10. but also the motivation you can get when we are stuck in the studio endlessly putting a handle on. Okay, hour after hour after hour. Last year, you know, I made in early January 100 mugs in a day. It then took me a week to put the handles on, with other things happening. But to realize, though, that the conditions we can do it under, that we've got heat in the studio, we've got electric, we've got water, we've got a microwave, we've got the internet right there to entertain us while we're doing this, that we're not freezing, that there's not snow blowing under the door, although, oh, you know what, a lot of potteries are like that, where they're in our garages that aren't heated, so, but generally speaking, okay, how good we've got it. Okay, well, you know what, stop right there. Okay, these are my watercolors back here. I can, you know what, stop back next month for another book review. I'll change out the painting. I can change out the painting every month for years. Okay, which may be why I'm a potter. And you can stop back too next week, and that pension is the one item that stood out to me that I do want to do a series of, as I do the salt pig, so that may be another video coming up too. Okay, stop back and see what's going on in the studio next week.